Here we go. Welcome to another edition of Shoot the Defense. We're back. Rod is back, actually, aren't you, Rod? After last week's escapades, did you have fun?
What was last week? I was in Wales, wasn't
I? Yeah.
I was travelling. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. The M6 just sat there for like 2 hours.
Was it the start of bank? No, it wasn't the start.
No, it was just going into one lane. Nights,
roadworks and all that shit.
All going into one lane, but it was like 10 miles back, and you know what it's like. Everyone's. Oh yeah, so it was for that it was 2 hours.
But you enjoyed Cardiff.
Oh yeah, it was great down there. Yeah, the weather was nice. Played a bit of golf, bit of bowling. Yeah, it's good.
You play all different sports, don't you? You play golf, you play football, you play bowling. What is there any sport you don't play?
Mind a bit of rugby either.
Rugby?
Oh yeah.
Is there any sport you don't play?
Hockey. I don't like hockey.
What type of hockey though? Like ice hockey or
any? Lacrosse. Yeah.
Because I know in hockey, if you're a goalkeeper, you can actually kick the ball. Not that you'd want to, but
I wouldn't know any rules. I won't watch 1 second of it. It doesn't interest me. But then they'll say, "Well, yeah, but you like cricket? Cricket? I like cricket. I like baseball, but hockey, no."
Maybe you love your American sports as well, though.
I do like American sports. Yeah, I don't like basketball.
No,
I'm interested in basketball. No,
really? That's a surprise.
No, the Michael Jordan era in it. So, to be honest, King James crap. Can you do me a favour?
Come on, they got the MVP is Greek now, man. Come on.
Oh no, yeah. Well, there's a lot. It's bigger in Croatian, Greek, Chinese. There's a lot more different people from different backgrounds now down
there. Absolutely. What about you, Steve? Are there any sports that you aren't too keen on?
All of them. Obsessed with football. Nothing else matters.
Yeah, you and I are in the same boat, mate. You and I are in the same boat.
Oh, he likes cricket. He watches cricket. He goes to rugby.
I watch cricket. I watch cricket and rugby league, but
I think the pint with the cricket helps, but he watches cricket.
Yeah, I've what sports have I played before? I've played basketball. Never too keen on that. Never tried cricket, as in like in the massive field. We used to do it at school, like in the playground, because we didn't have the facilities with the plastic stumps and all that kind of shit. What else did we play at school? We did netball. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? You can't run with the ball. You got to stand still and throw it to someone. What's this about? What kind of exercise is this?
I snapped my ligaments playing netball. Not netball.
Really?
It was volleyball. Volleyball, sorry.
Volleyball. Yeah, beach volleyball's good. I enjoy playing that.
Especially it's mixed.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't mind watching the Olympics, the beach volleyball one. I don't think anyone here does.
Of course not. Yeah, even I.
I mean, obviously, they're fantastic athletes. They do their job. I think they deserve a pay rise.
Yeah,
more than the American football team. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's big over there, isn't it? America and Australia. It's not
Australia. Yeah.
How many beach volleyball players do you see on the beach down there?
Going down Southend or Blackpool. Oh well.
Get seagull fly for the ball. That big down there. They're massive.
Someone standing there, spectator holding it with a pie and chips, and the fucking seagulls come and
then they're lethal.
Brilliant. All right, let's talk about the football then. Okay. Before we talk about the fixtures and results, all that kind of shit, boys, I think we might as well just touch on this first. Cristiano Ronaldo joining United or rejoining United. There was a massive rumor that he was going to join Manchester City, and then all of a sudden, big U-turn, and he's joining United. It's all been agreed. Apparently, his medical's been done in Turin, if I'm not mistaken. And second spell at United. First of all, Steve, Guardiola said, I think it was today or yesterday, that there was no interest from City, but a couple of days before the interest, he says there was interest. I'm not sure what Mr. Guardiola is doing. Maybe it's pep roulette in terms of transfers.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think the way you're going with that, Stella, I've been thinking this for a few days now, because there's a couple of things we shouldn't forget. But certainly the media and the agency work are doing really good jobs now in ramping different types of interest, jumping ahead. I think Dan James has possibly signed for Leeds tonight, but right at tea time, they were suggesting Everton had come in. So the media and the agents, I think, are working together. But we shouldn't forget that possibly Pep Guardiola and everybody at Manchester City have already done this with Harry Maguire and Alexis Sanchez, where they've basically took United all the way down the garden path and then turned round and gone back home. And that's what they've appeared to have done this time too. But nobody's disappointed on the red side of Manchester, because at whatever cost, they've got their hero back, and it doesn't matter. And they think they've got one over City in recruitment, but they did think that with Maguire and Sanchez. So that doesn't bother me, but it's great to see him back in the Premier League.
But do you think there was ever any genuine interest? And the reason why I ask this is because you always hear, whenever there's a footballer, like, for example, Sergio Ramos. I remember when Ramos was about to renew his contract at Real Madrid during the Louis van Gaal era, and all of a sudden Graham Hunter was saying on Sky Sports News, he's going to join United, he's going to do this. And it's the agent always putting out the feelers. They've always got, these agents always have someone in the press, don't they? Whether it be Duncan Castles, who's mates with Jorge Mendes, and all these others. All of a sudden, these stories break about certain players, and then there's interest from a club, but it's almost as if they're using it as leverage to get more interest from other clubs. So do you think that was the case, that they were using City's name to get United involved in the situation? Because I heard that Paris Saint-Germain didn't want him. I heard that Real Madrid said no. I don't know. What did you make of that?
Everything what you're saying there, who's to say they're not in bed with other clubs at a financial gain, allegedly? I'm not, there's no fact here to say, are we all right to use your club? Are we all right to use your manager's name? Are we all right to suggest that you're interested in this player so that we can get a better contract at this club? And I'm sure the club in turn would say, yeah, but that comes at a price. I wouldn't rule anything out in 2021, Stella, where money's concerned and those numbers, those digits, then anything could happen, overhand, underhand, or whatever. Nothing would surprise me. And the main thing is he's back in the Premier League at Manchester United, but there's just something around the build up to it that has just been a little bit sinister for me that probably we'll never find out.
Rod, the 12-year loan deal is over. He's been on a longer loan deal than Bakayoko, really, hasn't he? According to United fans. But yeah, it's a massive deal. I think United have paid 15 million euros, rising to 23 million based on appearances and all, which, okay, 36 years old, people will say it's a lot of money, but it's Cristiano Ronaldo, and United will make that money back in terms of revenue and sponsorships and all that. But when you first heard the news, what were you thinking?
Well, we talked about it on WhatsApp that we thought we might be going to City, and it was like, and then when you actually think about it, you think, no, he's not going to go there. Well, if he's going to go anywhere, he's going to go United. So, well, first of all, he's going to want to go back to Real Madrid. So obviously they didn't want him. And then his second choice is going to be United. How he's got there, he might have used City might have used him. Who knows? But I think by all accounts, City have offered less than United. So they've offered him a price, which is a low ball for Ronaldo. Let's get it right. He's still one of the best players in the world, if not one of the top three. And if they get him, great. If they don't, and then after United have sprang to action, and there's only one place he's going to go. So, yeah, but I think Pep Guardiola said it all. These type of players choose where they want to go. That's it. They choose.
So, what is he going to bring to United then? I know
goals.
Well, yeah, there's that, but from a bigger.
Still, forget this 36 business. He's looked after his body. He's spent millions a season on his own body and his lifestyle. He's not a normal 36-year-old. He's a 30-year-old. So you're still going to get good 2-3 years out of him. This 36 doesn't. He's just played in the Euros and top goal scorer. So Yes, I know it's week in and week out, and it's the Premiership and it's demanding, but we've got a big squad. You know, that's why the manager's got to manage it properly, and you know he's not going to like it when he brings him off, but sometimes he's got to bring him off and rest him and do it and save him for himself.
Well, before the show, Steve and I were talking about this, and I said to Steve, it's similar to when United brought in Laurent Blanc. It's similar to when United brought in Henrik Larsson. Players that had won everything there is to win at the highest level. If you've got younger players like Greenwood, and back then United had Wayne Rooney, who was quite young, Ronaldo was quite young. If they don't learn from these players, then...
Oh, yeah, well, they're already learning from Cavani and places, people like that. But when you got someone like a world-class, and they'll see how he operates day in, day out and nothing. Jesus Christ. I thought I was doing a lot. They need to up it because he's just a machine. You see what he does. They suppose that trains 4 or 5 times a day. Do you know anyone that does that in football? So that's why he's world class. He's not Henrik Larsson. He's not Laurent Blanc. He's one of the world best in the world. Laurent Blanc was a good player. Henrik Larsson was a very good player, but they weren't world class like Ronaldo.
No, but I agree with you. But what I'm saying is the impact that they had on the younger players, like Blanc joined United when Rio was quite young, when Wes Brown was young, when John O'Shea. Learning from someone like that.
You'll only learn from these players from being up close to them and watching them. I'm sure what Ronaldo did, looking at Ryan, Scholes, all the other kids that Roy Keane, and seeing how they were working. There was a story that he come in the canteen drinking a can of Coke. Well, there was a big story about him the other month that he moving Coke out the way to the camera. He was drinking Coke and one of the players gripped him and said, "We don't drink that in here." And from that day on, he's never drank it. So, you know, everyone learns from top players, and he is a top player and a top professional. So you can only learn from him. You'd be stupid not to. That's why players that you thought might want to leave, now they'll probably think, I want to stay and play with Ronaldo.
So where does he play then? What position does he play?
He's a number 9, isn't he? He's a number 9. He scores goals. He hasn't got the legs to do it. Maybe sometimes he'll play on the left or sometimes he'll play on the right, depending on the situation. But he's going to be a number 9. How Cavani's going to take that, who knows? But they're going to have to figure it out themselves. And that's a big job for the manager as well, because, yes, we still need a centre midfielder. You know that. Anyone can see that. But to turn down Ronaldo, you're just not going to do it, are you?
Very true. Very true. So I'm going to ask another question that's been asked on numerous occasions on the radio and television. Does this make United title candidates then? Because we know how many goals he can score, how many goals he has scored. I think he scored 30 last season for Juventus. And that league is probably defensively better than the Premier League. I don't know if this is going to be an instant impact, but I firmly believe that this will put United in a very, very strong position to challenge for the title, much stronger than before.
Well, a week ago, what we were saying, that they need to be challenging. That was a week ago, without Ronaldo, without 25 goals guaranteed. That's what he'll give you, guaranteed. So they have to be, but they're still weak in that. The City, Liverpool, Chelsea, they've all got better ball-playing midfielders that can get about the pitch. Fred, he'll get about the pitch, he'll do the dirty work, but his quality is poor. McTominay, yes, there's a player there, and he's shown spurts of that last year and the year before. So, yes, he's good. Pogba, you've got to play him there because you can't play him on the left because you've got too many options out there when everyone's fit. So he has to play in there, which he can do because we've seen him do it for France. And he started well. And with better players round him, you play better. So with Ronaldo coming in now, you can see how excited they were. Him and the keeper when they're talking about Sky Sports yesterday. So there'll be buzz about the ground, but still worries with that midfielder because half the battles of winning your midfield battles, and if you don't win the midfield battles, you haven't got possession of the ball and good possession of the ball. You're going to struggle.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that game against Wolves then. Let's get this one out of the way. United beat Wolves 1-0. Quite controversial, really. a potential foul on Ruben Neves by Paul Pogba in the build-up to the goal. Prior to that, Adama Traore had a chance, which Wan-Bissaka cleared off the line. David De Gea made 2 great saves. He looks like he's returning back to the form that we remember David De Gea being before he dipped, obviously. What I will want to know from you guys is, A, when are Wolves going to score for a start? Because they've had 3 games, they've yet to score. In all 3 games, Adama has had gilt-edge opportunities, which he's scuffed. I don't know whether or not they're going to sign a striker in this window, because they signed Trincao on loan from Barcelona. They signed, I think, about to sign Sanchez, the midfielder from Rennes, I believe, that won the French title. So are Wolves fans right to be worried, or is it just, start of the season, they've missed opportunities there, and they've played some decent teams as well?
Me? I think they shouldn't be worried because there'll always be, well, for the time being, 3, 4, 5 worse teams. But I think they will be victims of their own success and appetite under their previous manager, revamping a style of play. Jota and Jimenez full of fitness, if you like, before tragedy for one, transfer for the other. I'm suggesting that they've had their best times in the Premier League, and it'll be hard to match what they've done in the last 2 to 3 years. And I think that will weigh heavy still. And I think it'll almost be like a malaise. I think it'll be a depression. I think it'll create anxiety. And I think they will be compared to what they've done in the last couple of years. And that's going to leave all of them disappointed. They're going to score less. They're going to win less. But they're going to be all right in the Premier League. But they've had their nosebleed time in the Premier League, which was great fun for them at the top echelons of it, certainly around the middle to top. I expect them to be from the middle to bottom for the rest of the season.
And Rod, with Jimenez back, we know how serious his injury was. He's now wearing that headgear, whatever you want to call it. He doesn't look the same player as what he did before. Now, I don't know whether that's because he's still getting to grips with the game. It might be a bit of ring rust. Or perhaps it's a psychological effect of that injury. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a bit unfair to criticise yet. I think you'd have to give him a full season because, we're not 2, 3 games in. And he's got to get used to wearing that thing. I think once he scores and he gets a goal under his belt, the longer it goes, the harder it's going to be. But, I agree with Stell. I think that they'll be all right. But, they're not going to reach the heights as they did with the previous manager. It doesn't help as well when the previous manager is top of the table with 3 wins out of 3. So, they did look good. They're exciting to watch and they'll get a few wins. But like Stez says, there'll be, I'd say, 7 or 8 more teams that'll be worse than them. Not 5, 6, 4 or 5.
All right, very quickly about United then. What did you think about the incident involving Neves and Pogba? Personally, I think Mike Dean was right in front of it. He saw it. I think even on Match of the Day, they said that he kind of winced. But was that a foul in your opinions?
100% no. Not even.
Okay.
100% no. He risked going early, and he could win the pass rather than the tackle. And unfortunately for him, the pass went to Varane, and that's when he decided to hit the grass, hit the surface. I think Graham Souness might have mentioned this, but if he'd have delayed another second or 2, it would have been a side foot against a side foot. It would have been a block tackle. And the truth is, I don't think anyone would have won the tackle. Nothing would have happened. It would have just been man against man, and the ball probably wouldn't have even moved. It would have been deadlock. And I just think he chanced his arm by going early to avoid the 50-50, passing through the ball. Pogba wasn't there. And the moment it went to an opponent, Varane in the United shirt, he basically begged for anything he could get and has cried since. I thought his approach to the confrontation still was all wrong. And if he'd have been a bit braver, he should have slowed down and gone for a 50-50 instead of a 55-45 where he basically passed through Pogba and put United on the attack. If he got caught, he got caught. I don't know. It wasn't a foul for me.
Rod?
Yeah, I totally disagree. If his shin pad's not there, he's got a gash in his shin.
Oh, okay. So you're saying foul?
Well, if his shin pad's not there, he's got a gash in his shin. His shin pad's done its job. But he's got away with it. The referee's a bad referee, was right there. Yeah, if the shin pad's not there, he's got a gash across his shin pad.
I remember Pogba saying in the the post-match interview with, I think it was BBC or whoever it was, and he said, well, if I've caught him, then it's a red card. And that reminded me of when United played Arsenal, when he went in late on Bellerin after taking a bad touch. He did exactly the same thing, and he caught Bellerin, and he deserved to go. And he was looking at the referee in shock that he was given the red card. But
I think the referee was almost too close. Because it was like, if you can only see it by the shin. If you don't,
but you could hear it as well. You could hear the contact. You could hear the contact with the stud.
Yeah, but he's right there.
Estelle, have I got that wrong? Was it a foul? I'm happy for you to tell me it was.
Well, put it this way: if I was a Wolves fan, I'd be pissed off that it wasn't given, because
if it was the shoe on the other foot, if Pogba got his shin and it was the other way around and they scored, you'd be like, that's a foul. Look at his shin pad. Shin pads go around his fucking calf.
Right. Okay.
So for me, it's a foul. But
we're 50-50 on this one.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, but like the last week, it's a foul. But they don't give a foul. Southampton go on and score.
That's what Oli said, isn't it?
Come on,
Oli said,
he barged him in the back and knocked him out of the way. How is that not a foul?
Said, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Even when you look back at it, how is that not a foul? It's just, these referees, if they're 50-50, they're going to stick with it, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's move swiftly on then to City 5, Arsenal 0. And we were messaging each other in the group. Rod, you said it was going to be 6. I thought it was going to be 8. Steve, it could have been whatever City wanted, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that, and no disrespect here, and I'm not questioning Guardiola's integrity at all, but I think if Mikel Arteta was Sam Allardyce or, I don't know, Eddie Howe or someone else, he wouldn't have told him to take the foot off the gas. I think because it was his mate, he's kind of said, it's kind of like with a dog on a lead, you kind of pulling, yeah. Do you think that's what happened? Because I think he's let him off. I think he's let Arteta off big time.
I don't think he will have told the players to stay at that elite level. That'll do us now. Let's circle the wagons, put the cues on the rack. None of that business. I think possibly he may have, relaxed off himself and then the team follow. But I don't think there would have been any instruction, because these players are desperate to win Premier League titles, and they know that the tightness of the Premier League this year, that could easily go down to goal difference with the experience they've had in the last few years, that if they could rack up big score lines that can affect their lives for the rest of their lives, they're not going to turn that down. So possibly the tempo dropped, the sun was out, and maybe the manager's demands became less. But I don't believe he would have delivered any type of calmness to help his mate out in the other technical area.
No striker. Well, tell a lie. Gabriel Jesus Torres, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably the other way around. Torres through the middle and Jesus on the right still.
Well, if you look at City's opening 2 goals, the state of Arsenal's defending, it goes back to what I've been saying before. It's almost as if it's non-existent. It was too easy for City, wasn't it? It's probably the easiest game, probably easier than Norwich.
Yeah,
and that was a 5-0 scoreline.
Yeah, I think, and he's really impressing me in the last few months. Martin Keown in punditry, and it was quite an obvious comment, but he just said teams these days have got patterns, formulas, and they're sticking, with the same thing because they're in the groove. Arsenal are trying different things every week, different personnel, different shape, because they're stumbling along. And in the meantime, there's just no cohesion. And these better players, better coached teams are just playing through them, running through them, and scoring at will, it seems. So you don't imagine it getting any better for Arsenal anytime soon, because they're not showing any signs of resilience.
Rod, when Arteta got the job, we were talking about how he requires time, how people need to be patient with him. And we know that patience is practically non-existent these days in the game. He's been given a lot of money to spend. I think it's the most that Arsenal spent in a summer, if I'm not mistaken.
How much
ever.
is it? How much?
135 million or something along those lines. He spent more than United.
What on?
Well, let's find out. Let me get it for you. Well, 50 million was on Ben White for a start.
Who's that? I don't even know who these players are. Who's that? Which one's that?
Central defender from Brighton, yeah.
Oh, right, Ben White, yeah, Costa, yeah.
They spent
good looking kid with the suntan and the tattoos.
Yeah,
and
the one who wears the gloves with the short sleeves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
They spent 15 million on that Lokonga kid from Anderlecht. They spent 30 million on Ramsdale. I think they spent the same on Odegaard.
So they spent 30 million to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
But what's that going to help them right now? Because he's going to be gone in a month or so. So how's that going to help him?
Pass.
So is he really bringing these players in then?
132 million pounds is the figure that I've got here.
Is he bringing these players in?
Who, Arteta?
Or is someone else bringing them in?
Well, I think it's Edu, because Tavares is a Portuguese left back. Lokonga is a Belgian central midfielder. Ramsdale and Ben White are English players, and they're 23 years old. So I think that's for an English quota. And
so of all them, you've only got one with Premier League history, and the other one's got Premier League history, but he got relegated.
You got Odegaard, who was there last season. So 130 odd million.
Yeah, but Odegaard, he's not going to pull up trees for you, is he?
Well, this is it, because he played in like a deep lying role.
You've got a Aubameyang who looks like really don't want to be there. You've got Lacazette, who's a good player, but he needs better players around him. To be fair to him, felt sorry for him on Saturday.
I think he's out of contract in the summer as well, Rod.
Yeah, so he's going to be off. Although you think he might want to put a shift in because he want to get a move somewhere or get a new contract. So, but he still needs better players around him. It was hard for him Saturday when you go down to 10 men, City. Yeah, it's the last thing you want. The last thing you want. It's just bop. You come home with whiplash. You just bop.
Well, there's talk about Aubameyang possibly going to City. That's the latest rumor. He's he signed a new contract, and they're not happy with his attitude and everything.
I don't see that.
Neither do I. Why would Guardiola want someone like him? He's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, I don't see that at all.
But Arsenal got problems, and it's a deep lying problem, and it's something that I think you and I spoke about last week, Steve, in the sense that Leno in goal, we know he's not great. Cedric Suarez, who Southampton were happy to let go. Chambers holding Kolasinac, who was on loan last season at Schalke, and they got relegated. Tierney, who's supposed to be, if we listen to Twitter, he's one of the best left backs in the world.
I've watched Tierney. There's a left back there. Then we've got Smith Rowe. He's decent.
Decent, but that's not enough, is it?
No, but he's young. He's only going to get better in.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to kill him. They're going to kill him in a team like Arsenal, though.
Same with Saka.
Maybe like another Jack Wilshere, be injured every week.
Yeah. I mean, and then you look at the senior players in that team, Xhaka and Aubameyang. What Xhaka was doing going in for that challenge, I don't know. This is a guy who he signed a new contract recently. He was going to go to Roma, and he's got a brilliant agent.
For such an experienced player, you're in your own half. You're going for a throw in. There's just no need to even go to floor there. There's just no need for it, and for him to dive in like that. There's just no excuse for it. I don't even think it was a sending off, but there was no excuse to leave his feet for it. So why give the referee a decision to make at all? Just shepherd him and stay on your feet.
What is Arteta telling Xhaka at half time when his team go in, 3-0 down? Was it 2 or 3-0?
Nothing.
No?
No time. Absolutely no time.
What about full time then? He's got to be saying something to him or whatever, because I wouldn't say he's cost them, but Jesus Christ, I mean, what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, you'd have to think there'd be an inquest at full time. There should be an after-match review at the training ground. I don't know if they train Sundays. Presumably a load of players are off on international duty, so it's a long time till you get the team together. So you have to address some things. That would have definitely required a private conversation between manager and senior player to discuss the moment. But still, just from my own experience, once the lads have come in, gone to the toilet, had a wash, couple are being seen by the physio, had a drink, had a little chat between themselves, you've got about 5 minutes with these players before the bell goes for you to get up and get back going again. So you've got to limit your instructions to emergencies. And talking about what's gone, I don't think he'll have had time for it. He had to talk about how he was going to approach the second half and not what had gone on in the first too much.
Rod, what about his teammates then? What are they saying to him? I mean, obviously, Aubameyang is supposed to be their captain. I don't think he'll be saying too much apart from, let's see what AFTV say about us.
Still, sorry, that would be more powerful if a teammate grabbed hold of it and absolutely nailed him for letting the rest of them down. Sorry, Rod, over to you, mate.
But they haven't got that.
No, I think that's half the problem, though. That they probably have not one person has said anything to him, and that's the problem right there.
Mm.
So this goes back to what I said about Arteta and him being given time. We know that Arsenal have had Deadwood for a while, but the thing is, the difference between what's happening with Arsenal and Arteta and United with Solskjaer is that United have been able to get rid of players very quickly. Rojo went, Herrera went, Valencia went. Okay, granted, that two out of the three were out of contract. But slowly, these. I think only Phil Jones is the only piece of shit left, and maybe Lingard. But anyway, we won't go into him. But Arsenal have still got the same shit that they had under Wenger. If you look at them, it's terrible.
Mm.
And they bring in players that not really excited, are you? As an Arsenal fan, when you hear you're bringing Aaron Ramsdale in, Ben White. They're not, Pepe, what's happened to him? 70-odd million. These are players that poor decisions. Why they should have gone with Saha. These are the recruitment that can sink or swim, and they're killing them at the minute because the recruitment is poor. You look at them when they played United, they beat them 1-0 at Old Trafford. And we was doom and gloom, and they was all up, and Ollie's a failure and Arteta's, and even me and Stez were backing Arteta. We could see what he was trying to do, but yeah, you just look at the players and look when you're talking about team competing against City. That's the level that you've got to compete at, and they are a million miles away from City.
Well, there's rumours that Edu might get the sack. Apparently, that Vinay and Tim Lewis aren't happy with the way. I
don't understand how you can spend 130 million in summer and then sack the guy.
Well, there's talk about Mark Overmars possibly coming in, but why would Mark Overmars want to come in and look at this shit? But apparently, just look out for some leaks that might be
because it might need someone like that to bring the right players in. He'd been at Arsenal. He's been at Arsenal when they were very successful because he was there 96, 97, 98, 99 when they were very successful. So,
yeah, but so was Edu. So Edu was successful for Arsenal.
True, but. Sometimes it just doesn't fit, and it's not fit. Look at. They've not got better; they've got worse. Arguably worse. The bottom of the league. This is Arsenal Football Club, big 60,000 seater stadium. All the stuff that Wenger's built from all the hard work he's put in, and now this shambles. It's just you could see while the Arsenal fans get irate and get worked up, but yeah, it's just not good enough.
All right, well, let's talk about.
Imagine if we was in Arsenal's position. What would we be saying to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if we was in this position now? What would it be like, Stez? What seriously? These Berkeley City's fans would be. They'd be absolutely loving it, and it'd be murder. And then City would be top league. And Tottenham top league, exactly.
Yeah, but there was a certain YouTube, I'm not going to mention him, but he put out a tweet the other day, which I found hilarious, but true. He said something along the lines of United fans stormed the pitch, they got a match cancelled, and the owners retaliated by bringing in Sancho, Varane and Ronaldo, whereas Arsenal fans haven't done anything, so the club are just continuing to take the piss.
Arsenal can't attract these players now. Why would Varane or Sancho, these type of calibre players, go to Arsenal? For what? This is half the battle we've got now. You're not going to get the quality of players that Arsenal used to get because they're way behind. It's United, City, Liverpool, Tottenham,
Leicester, Everton.
Leicester, Everton. If these teams now, you'd rather play for Leicester than, well, Jamie Vardy chose Leicester than Arsenal. So that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago. Someone from Leicester turning down Arsenal, you're going to laugh.
No, fair enough. All right, well, let's talk about the other big game at the weekend. Liverpool 1, Chelsea 1. 10-man Chelsea hung on at Anfield, but it wasn't really the Alamo, was it, Steve? Liverpool looked decent going forward. Jurgen Klopp was saying that it's more difficult to score against 10 men, which I agree. But the big talking point was the handball and the sending off on the goal line. Now, I've been stupid enough to read what people say on social media. Many people believe that it shouldn't have been a penalty and it shouldn't have been a red card. But under the laws of the game, he's got to go, right? And it's
I think so. I think so. So yeah, I'm with you on that, and well, certainly with the referee. And I don't think there was too many complaints from Chelsea. And I think Chelsea would have taken a point and shook hands on it before the game, despite the fact that they are obviously massively in form, brilliant the week before. But away at Anfield, if you want to play Liverpool twice a year, you want to beat them at home and take a point away. I think most teams would shake hands on that. So they've got their point. The fact they've done it with 10 men doesn't half galvanise and bring even more spirit to what's already a great dressing room and a great coaching staff, it seems. So yeah, Chelsea are in a good spot, and I still think that's an amazing point for them. And Liverpool will be disappointed that they didn't break them down, but I think it just shows the growth of Chelsea more than anything.
Yeah, Rod, what do you reckon? Was that a red card for you?
I just realised I got him in my flipping fancy team. Yeah, it's one of them, innit? He's just unlucky. It's just the law of the game, and he's unlucky.
He knew what he was doing, man. Come on.
I don't think he did. I think it's a reaction, but the second reaction where his hand goes like that, that's what does it for him, I think, because the way it's hit his knee, it's going in as well. So just the law needs to be changed, because they get the goal. And yeah, but the double whammy is a killer. It's a killer. But like Stez says, to do that at a place like Anfield, because they start, I always remember the manager at United back in the day, he used to say to first 15, 20 minutes, if you survive at Anfield, then you can start playing, but you have to, put your tin on for the first 15, 20 minutes, because it is a cauldron, especially with the fans there, and it's hard work, especially when on the game like it was on Saturday. So, but yeah, Chelsea dug in with 10 men, more than a half, and and got a good result, because the point at Anfield, like Stez said, if you asked him that to start the game, he'd have bit your hand off.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk quickly about Virgil van Dijk against Romelu Lukaku. That was an interesting contest, which I think the Dutchman won, in my opinion. Have you guys been impressed with Van Dijk's return to fitness?
I saw it live last week, so yeah. He coasted against Burnley, but physical against Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes enough. But he never had to decelerate. He never really had to run back towards his own goal. In doing so, that would have meant he would have to turn 180 and 360 degrees sometimes. Didn't see any of that. He was more of a calming presence still that I saw with my eyes than an imposing presence. But I do think it can only get better, bigger. And I think you'll see, somebody his size, his status, with such a bad injury and time out, I don't actually think you'll see the real profile of him for about 12 games. So he's on the way. I'm hoping he gets to that point, even though he's a rival. You want to see him come back after serious injury. So he doesn't, I don't feel intimidated by him like I used to, but I've got a feeling I will do in the future. For now, he's just an imposing a calming figure.
Steve, I can't remember if we spoke about this on the podcast actually, but Alexander-Arnold, he doesn't look like he's sprinting as much as he.
No, that was me to you. That was me to you last time.
Yeah. Was it on the show though? Was it on?
I was at the Burnley game, and the first comment I've got to say, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
But he played like somebody at the end of his career, almost like a Dennis Irwin, shall we say, that doesn't waste a pass, whips it, floats it, steps in with it, shares it. He played in a really low gear in the game that I saw. Now, the fixture might have presented that almost lack of challenge for him, but he looked reluctant, like he wanted to sprint from a standing start. And again, very similar to Van Dijk, it's 50% of Liverpool's back four, but I think those two brilliant players are athletically unsure of their capabilities because of injury, and it can really play havoc, not only with your body, but with your mind.
Absolutely. There we go. Right. What game shall we discuss now? Which one shall we talk about? All right, so Burnley Leeds. Steve, you were there.
Yeah.
Good point for Burnley, I believe, in my honest opinion. But Leeds again conceding goals didn't look
the wide open style.
Yeah,
they're absolutely wide open. They push four players on. Calvin Phillips is the only holding midfield player. He's the only midfield player, and he's a young lad that wants to run. So the turnover of the ball, it's very much risk and reward. They go for it with numbers and press, but the turnover of the ball makes them wide open. Better teams than Burnley will capitalise, just like Manchester United did at Old Trafford. And obviously, occasionally, Leeds will thrill by pushing so many players forward, and they'll have their day where everything goes for them. They've got the talent of Rafinha, the goal scoring of Bamford. I didn't see much else in them. They'll get the speed of James that they'll sign by midnight tonight. And they're a good developing young team, but they're absolutely wide open. Always expect them to concede on the back of what I saw at weekend.
Rod, will Dan James help Leeds United? It's their second bite of the cherry trying to sign the lad. They finally got him. I think they spent 30 million quid though.
Well, if he goes there, by all accounts, if Everton come in, you'd probably choose Everton over Leeds.
I think it swayed back to Leeds, Rod.
I think he was pictured at Leeds offices.
He was close to signing Leeds before, so it would make sense. And he just gives them more options for Leeds, doesn't he? There's a player in there, but for me, it frustrates me because that's his job, but he can't cross the ball. Yes, he'll get 1 out of 5, but no, that's not a good percentage. Not for you if you're playing for Man United. And that's why he's going to be moved on, because the quality is not just there. But you can see a player in there. Is he just too quick for his own good? I don't know, but yeah, his crossing is not good enough for
lads. Was that a risk yesterday? They must have known he was going for 30 million today. Was that a risk playing him yesterday? It's proven not to be, but is that the way the game's going now? Do they just think if he gets injured, we'll keep him anyway?
As a manager, Stez, would that bother you?
It would for 30 million, and if
you're not at Rochdale, you're at Man United, so it's not going to affect you really, is it?
Well, you've paid 40 million for a Van der Beek or whatever, and others. I don't know. 30 million. You've got to put something toward. Well, isn't that what they've paid for Ronaldo?
Yeah. And maybe they want to bring someone in, a right back or someone.
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure they might. Just overnight when he played yesterday, but he's gone for 30 million the next day. We're pretty much used to seeing, he's not in the squad for a mysterious reason, but United played him, so fair play all round.
It was a surprise when I seen him and I seen how strong the bench was, to be honest.
And then he sold. He probably had a shower, took his boots home and said, lads, thanks, it's been a pleasure.
But it's the right decision, though.
Absolutely. I made 15 million on him, Rod.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Steve, Burnley have got the checkbook out. They brought in Maxwell Cornet.
I don't get it.
From Lyon. Nathan Collins already signed from Stoke City, but apparently Connor Roberts.
Rodri probably knows more about him still because of the Welsh team and Welsh squad. But the lad Cornet from Lyon, he's been pictured with his Burnley top on, holding the Umbro sign instead of the club badge. So I'm hoping his form is better than his press day. But supposedly he's an attacking left back, stroke left wing back. Well, the best player is Dwight McNeil. He's been man of the match in the first 4 matches every time. Charlie Taylor is probably the 4th most consistent player at left back behind McNeil, Pope, Tarkowski, me. You start talking about Charlie Taylor. And they've spent, I think it was about £13 million on him. They've spent £1 million on Dale Stevens. So the last time they've invested, that was last season, 14 million, I'm suggesting that I'm sure would have been better served on a forward who could actually score them a goal to help them stay in the Premier League. So for me, it looks like the strengthening in areas, only fairly neutral. I like the club, but at the same time, Connor Roberts, I think at right back, well, you've got Loughton and Bardsley, and I watched Bardsley in midweek at Newcastle in the Cup. He was great. Loughton's pretty good every week in the Premier League. And like I say, a left wing back, and Dwight McNeil's the best player. So I don't see that fit of what was needed on a 5-year contract still. Rodri can talk about Connor Roberts. I don't know enough about him.
Yeah, apparently he's been linked with a move to Burnley, so I don't know.
I think it's strong.
Is that the right back?
Yeah.
No,
He scored at the Euros, didn't he?
Yeah, he's okay, but if the Wales squad is probably picking, that Rico Williams would probably play in front of him. So, he's a Burnley fit. To be honest,
I don't know how he gets in the team from Swansea ahead of Loughton. I don't know how he gets in the team.
Yeah, so I don't understand why we'd have free choice right backs unless one of them leave it.
Yeah, that's my point.
All right. Next game. Villa 1, Brentford 1. Interesting encounter there. Buendia equalising Tony's opener. Not too sure what to make of this one, gents, because Aston Villa, they've the signings that they made, they're showing so much promise, but they just can't seem to get the results that they want. I know they beat Newcastle last week, but drawing against a newly promoted team in Brentford and then losing on the opening day to another newly promoted team isn't really a good start, is it?
I think they're going to be a win-lose-draw team, mate. I think they're going to be trying to be entertainers. I think another club with a brilliant fan base, and they're going to try and appease them, I think, by playing attacking football. It always used to go through Grealish. Now possibly 4 or 5 different forwards and midfielders are going to have a go at it. And I think Villa will flow, and I think they'll be wide open, and I think they'll be very much hit, miss, or maybe. Everything we've discussed about Leeds in the past. And I think they'll be win, lose, draw, and I think that'll see them in mid-table, and sometimes they'll thrill and sometimes they'll disappoint.
Rod, good win for Everton at Brighton. Our mate, Calvert-Lewin scored again. I think that's his second.
Injured, doesn't he?
Yeah, came off injured.
That the England squad as well.
Yeah, how convenient. But do you think these these Everton fans that are complaining about Rafa Benitez are kind of eating their words at the moment, considering they've won 2 out of 3 games?
Mate, wins solve everything. Everything. Do you think if he was losing, he'd be taking pictures and signing autographs in the fans? No, he wouldn't. So, yeah, winning and playing well and scoring goals, it disguises everything. You have to see when they go for a tricky patch and they still stick with him because, he is a good manager. We've talked about this before. He's a top manager. He's a top-tier manager. So you'd be stupid not to utilise him and try and get the best out of him because, we've seen it with Everton. They've started pretty well. So, and they have got a good squad. Yes, they've got a couple of players missing for stuff that we won't go into, allegedly. So, but yeah, they've got a good team. I like Everton. They've got a good team, and if they keep hold of Richarlison and Dominic, you won't get your 20 goals. You'll get your 15, but that's 15 goals in the Premier League. So,
lads, that was a mess, wasn't it, for Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin with the penalty argument?
I don't get it. Tommy Calvert-Lewin took a penalty last week.
Yes.
He's the penalty taker. I don't get it.
Yes.
Don't get it.
Yeah.
Get off the ball, you child.
Yeah.
I'm the penalty taker. Move.
Yeah.
It just adds more pressure to him.
Oh,
obviously, he puts it away, but if he doesn't. You don't need it. It's your frigging teammate.
Yeah, I
agree.
agree.
Does wedding stuff like that because he's not thinking about his team. He's always thinking about himself.
Yeah.
That just shows what kind of individual he is.
Yeah, me too.
Lovely. Right. West Ham 2, Crystal Palace 2. Conor Gallagher scored the first goals in Patrick Vieira's reign as Crystal Palace manager. We were actually wondering when Crystal Palace were going to score, and then here we go, like buses. They scored twice, and it's Conor Gallagher. But Steve, I'm not sure about this new Crystal Palace team. It's a work in progress. Apparently, they're going to be signing what's his name? Edouard from Celtic. They need a striker, don't they? You can't rely on Benteke. So yeah, but it's a good point for them, especially given West Ham's form, no?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and the comeback goals, weren't they, as well? And yeah, absolutely. I see no future for them. I don't see any growth. I don't see the goals coming in regularity now, still, just because they've scored 2 against West Ham. Take a point in the Premier League in a London matchup rather than a derby, whatever. Yeah, great, he's up and running. But I don't see progress, and I expect them to be in the bottom 4 or 5 fighting relegation. So pleased for them, but they've tried to revamp, it feels, the whole identity of the club. You feel that the ageing pensioner-like of Roy Hodgson with his defensive setups and shutouts, COVID, the crowd not being there. When we come back, we'll revolutionise the place with a World Cup winner, a football legend, and some load of attacking football. Occasionally you might see it, but I'm expecting more of a struggle than the standard Roy Hodgson safety.
I think that we go back to the Wolves thing, what we said. I think that the saving grace for Crystal Palace, they'll probably be fighting against 5 teams for 1 relegation, because it looks like Norwich and
maybe Watford.
Who's the other one?
Maybe Watford.
Norwich is the other one that got
maybe Watford.
Watford, yeah.
Maybe
good result at the start.
Maybe Brentford.
Well, Brentford had a good start as well, but I just see Norwich have been battered every game, and it doesn't seem that they've learned from.
Exactly what I was about to say. They haven't learned their lesson from the last time they were up.
Yeah. So, but what Crystal Palace, 2 great goals from the kid, especially the second one. It was a very good goal in a tight space. But I think the saving grace for Crystal Palace, there'll be 2 or 3 teams that they'll be worse off than them, which will give you airtime. Because it's difficult to go from Roy Hodgson, who's really experienced, rigid, defensive, that gets results, to, like Stez said, bringing a World Cup and exciting players. But them exciting players.
So what about West Ham?
Always the answer.
What about West Ham then? Because David Moyes, he did a remarkable job last season, and this season it's almost as if he started off where he left off. Antonio's been a man possessed up front. Fornals has been fantastic. It's just I don't know what to say about West Ham. I can't say anything bad about them. I've got no negatives, believe it or not. Nothing about a David Moyes team.
Physically superb. They all look like they found each other, the manager, the crowd. They now feel a bit more at home in that stadium because they've had some wins in it and some progress. The recruitment of all at a good age, and when you've got a centre forward, on fire, and getting all these this loving almost off the TV pundits, so his confidence must be sky high, breaking records. They're a physical beast, West Ham. Set plays have always been good for David Moyes, and
they brought in Zuma now.
A beast, powerful athlete, powerful footballer. They're going to be similar to last year for me.
When you've got a player like Antonio, and Stez will tell you, and as a forward, and he stretches the play and gives you more space, but keeps hold of it. Can stretch you one way, you can come short and keep hold of it. He's turning into a complete centre forward. Antonio, he doesn't look like a typical centre forward. He's a bit raw and gangly, but very, very effective and coming on as a player every year.
Their next fixtures are quite interesting, though. They've got Southampton away, and then they've got Dinamo Zagreb in the Europa League before United, and then United again in the AFL Cup, then Leeds, and then Rapid Vienna. So these games are coming thick and fast.
Yeah, that's the worry for him, that the squad is not deep enough to keep the same quality. You can't rely on Antonio to play 3 times a week at that level. They're going to have to bring some other players to to help him out, and in other areas as well. So we've seen it before with teams that have come and done well the year before, got into Europe and struggled. West Ham have had a good start. Let's just see if they can keep it on, because wee Davies doing all right.
That's right. Newcastle to Southampton to both teams winless this season. I don't know who's the happier out of the two, to be honest, because Southampton performed remarkably well against Man United the week before, and they were pretty toothless against Newcastle. But then again, Newcastle did score in the last minute before Southampton won a penalty. So I guess Hasenhüttl will be the most happier out of the two managers, I guess, Steve, because Steve Bruce was not happy.
Take a point at St James's Park, regardless of what anyone thinks of Newcastle, if you're Southampton, that is, not one of the big boys, and then to basically lose the game in the 90th minute, but draw it in the 96th with a Ward-Prowse. Yeah, that will feel like a win for Southampton, and they'll go back into their training week. They'll have a rest now, but their last bank of work has been a really creditable draw with Manchester United and a good performance and a spirited comeback to equalise to get a point at Newcastle. They'll obviously be waiting for the next 3 points to come quickly, but their last bank of work, I think they'll be quite satisfied with.
Yeah, I'd just like to apologise to everyone, because I did a Michael Richards just then. I said, which manager is going to be the happiest out of two, because Steve Bruce didn't look happy. Was it that Michael Richards said the other day? He goes,
more like a Dion Dublin, that.
Yeah, true. Was it that Michael Richards said the other day? He goes,
he always contradicts himself.
There's no more negatives to say about Arsenal, and then reeled off about 5.
He goes, there's no more negative to say about Arsenal. He goes, shambolic. And he goes, yeah, every word under the sun. So, yeah. Rod, Southampton, Jekyll and Hyde, really. Last week against United, very, very good performance. Unlucky not to come away with a victory, and then scraping a last-minute equaliser at Newcastle. What's going on?
We've seen it before when big boys come in, they raise the game, and then the week after, they don't raise it to the same level, and they've still got a great point, like Steph said, when you leave St James's Park, especially you've gone 1-0 down in the 95th minute and get an equaliser in the next minute, that's like a win for them now. You go back on the coach, think, done well there, we got away with that one. So, yeah, Steve Bruce, on the other hand, you'd be fuming. You'd just be absolutely fuming. You just scored. But, the saying is, you're vulnerable as soon as you've scored. And, yeah, and it's happened. We've seen it so many times. I don't know why it happens, but it does. But, yeah, they just switched off. And the last person you want is to give a penalty to is Southampton, because there's not many better than Ward-Prowse from the dead kicks.
Absolutely. Steve, Brendan Rodgers praised his side's resilience for beating Norwich City 2-1, but I'm sure he'll be saying other things to Soyuncu because he's been a fucking liability, honestly. Yeah. I remember, was it last? No, it was the year before when Bournemouth were in the Prem. It was the year before last, wasn't it? And I think Leicester lost 4-0 at Bournemouth, like one of the last games of the season. And he was just smashing players left, right, and centre. Yeah. And again, he was doing that against Norwich City. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Leicester have had a lot of injuries defensively. Johnny Evans and Fofana and et cetera, Bertrand, you name it. They've had every injury under the sun when it comes to defenders. But you're looking at an international defender here that was rated very, very highly because they were saying, oh, he's the guy that came in to replace Maguire. And, they've duped United because they found this wonderful central defender. And here he is, like a bull in a fucking china shop. Yeah,
good phrase, Stel. You can get fooled sometimes, especially us supporters, because when you've got a big profile and clearly a big heart and you want to put yourself about and show passion and play the game on the edge, when it goes your way, you get hero worship by the supporters because you've got your last minute blocks, you've got your stretches, you're in the way of stuff, you're tangling with centre forwards, you're winning duels. But then when you come away from it and assess it correctly and sensibly, you want your centre half to have a quiet game. The best ones have a quiet game. They're always in the right position. They're always the right side of their opponent to get there first or pinch in front. They're passing it round centre forwards, and they have a calm game. Now, in truth, they're the better centre halves. The ones who are just heroic, who are, as you quite rightly say, a bull in a china shop. Every 3 or 4 games still, that's ideal because that'll be what that fixture demands, and you'll be the hero. But often playing the game on the edge like that, you're prone to making big errors and mistakes. But sadly, but it is the way the world is, the crowd fall for passion.
Yeah, very, very true. And Rod, what do you think?
What's that?
About Soyuncu, the central defender, the Turkish defender.
Oh, for Leicester, yeah. You can't keep on making clangers. Quicker Johnny Evans comes back, the better.
Pereira went off injured again.
And they lost the kid earlier on, didn't they? In pre-season.
Fofana, yeah.
Fofana, yeah.
Yeah, so they went in with Pereira, Amati, Soyuncu and Thomas as the defenders. Castagna came back, but...
Didn't Schmeichel drop a clanger last week as well?
Against...
No, it wasn't, was it? It was... Yeah, well, they've got away with it though, so... But, yeah, against the better teams, you can't be doing that, especially away from home when you've done so well to get in front and you're making just poor errors. Just... You're limiting error. You need to limit as much errors as possible as a football player, and to make an error like that to cost a goal, it's just criminal.
And to think someone on social media with their hot take believed that Leicester would leapfrog Liverpool into the top 4.
Who was that?
I can't name names. I'll send you the link instead.
Okay.
We can have a nice little bitch about that person anyway. Final game. Spurs 1, Watford 0. Steve, we were speaking about this before Rodri had all his technical issues. I don't know how Watford didn't score. I don't know how Spurs have kept clean sheets, because that's, 3 in a row now? If I'm not mistaken?
Good, yeah.
This isn't a solid... This isn't a recognisable Spurs back line, is it? We were speaking again, reiterate, we were talking about Spurs and how in the past they haven't been known to have a solid back four since probably when they won the Cup in 91. But here they are now, 3 clean sheets on the bounce, new manager who they didn't really want in the beginning. And they're looking pretty decent, aren't they?
Yeah, and I like the fact that when they have defended and they pass the ball into midfield, there's a lot of vanity in a lot of clubs at the moment. The midfield lads will pass it for ages, then they'll pass it back to the back lads, then they'll go back to the goalie. So the game is being kept near your own goal, which is obviously looking all good for the top players, but you can get caught with that. Spurs appear to me that once they've defended or blocked, as you quite rightly say, they go into midfield like we saw against Manchester City, and they're gone. They're up the field. It's almost like a counter-attack, after a pass or two. They get away from danger. So that in itself is defending, because whilst you have got the ball, you're taking the ball 80, 90 yards away from your own goal. So that's actually defending in itself. So I do believe they're doing that quite well as well still.
And Rod, a lot of Spurs fans didn't want Nuno. They felt that he was going to play boring, pragmatic football, but they are moving the ball pretty well. The fullbacks are getting forward. Tanganga, Reguilon. You've got Dele Alli coming back to form. Son scoring goals. Even Harry Kane has been forgiven for all of his sins.
Yeah, I like him as a manager, and I thought it was a perfect fit for him. He's a good manager. Shown that at Wolves. Yes, he probably got a bit stale there, but he's got better players now and a better squad than Wolves, in my opinion. And to get Dele Alli back playing, he can be a top player. So get him back playing. We know about Son. He can be a 9, 10 out of 10 every week, and he'll always pop in with a goal as well. Yeah, and the Harry Kane news is good as well. I don't think that the squad is deep with quality, but they've started well. It's a good start for him. And we've added bonus Arsenal about him. Great.
Gents, I just want to bring this back to Arsenal for a moment, because Maitland-Niles, have you seen what he's done on social media?
He wants out,
pleaded
doesn't
to
he?
leave, hasn't he?
All I want to do is go where I'm wanted and where I'm going to play. Now, I've only just seen this. But
No, but he's tagged Arsenal as well.
Yeah. He put on his Instagram. I've only just seen this, but apparently it's happened like 7-8 hours ago.
Yeah, I see.
What the fuck? Honestly, I mean...
Well, he wants out, doesn't he? He's obviously not playing. He's thinking, I want out.
But yeah, but this is unacceptable, man. Come on.
What's the difference with him and Harry Kane? Harry Kane's just not coming at training.
Yeah, that's right.
Even captain.
That's right.
Don't give me all this crap. Oh, it was. I was coming back a week past. Why? Season starts in a week. Why are you coming back then? Be more professional. Come and get yourself right. Yes, you need a break because it is important, but you'd had it for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
What did you need 5 weeks for?
No, I agree. I agree 100%. And if there was other players doing the same thing, they would have got absolutely slaughtered. But it's Harry Kane, isn't it?
Well, will this kid get the same energy as Harry Kane? Because this is a black kid. I'm just saying.
Do you know what? A lot of Arsenal fans, in fact, the majority of them will back Maitland-Niles. Now, whether the papers dress it up in a negative way, that's something that we're going to see tomorrow or whenever it is. But I think it's an irresponsible thing to do, personally. Now, I understand the frustration, but...
It's the modern world, innit? Do it on social media. Don't be man enough. You don't know. He might have gone into Arteta and said to him, listen, I want out. But he's not done that because he's gone on Instagram and done it. But, you knock on the manager's door and say, listen, I want out. You're not playing me. I want to play football. I want out. But he's done it the social media route.
Gentlemen, here we go. Breaking news. Edu has been relieved of his duties as director of football at Arsenal Football Club.
You called it Stell at the start of the show, and then you finished it with the news.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't get that at all.
Arsenal
you just sacked the person that's just spent 132 million on shite players.
Look at this thing about Arsenal will not be looking for a replacement. Let me just put it up on the fucking screen. 1 minute. Just put it up on the screen. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
There you go. Arsenal will not be looking for a replacement as they believe Mikel Arteta should be the one determining the long-term strategy of the club.
Fucking hell.
Now, is this a wind-up?
Shouldn't they have done that 2 weeks ago?
Maybe they did.
Is this a wind-up? 1 minute. Looking at the responses, it looks like it's a wind-up. Hang about. It looks like a wind-up. Charles Watts. No. It's a wind up. It's a wind up. But see, this is the thing though. This is the danger of Twitter and social media when you don't look at the facts. I blame myself for this, but at the same time, it's indicative of what's happening at Arsenal. The fans are so desperate to get a reaction from other supporters or get their own fans like kicking off, that they would do something like that. And then they will tag the person that will come up with the original story in the first place. But it wouldn't surprise me if Edu does leave anyway, because he's got so much flack lately. And yeah, we saw with Ed Woodward, Rod, how eventually he just said, fuck this, I'm going. I can't take this anymore. And Arsenal, their fan base is just brutal. Rod's frozen. Or is he actually pretending to be a statue? Steve, have you frozen?
No.
Rod is frozen. Oh, no, there he is. He's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Rod.
Yeah,
you froze for a second.
Yeah, it froze. Back.
Oh, okay. So it's not going to happen. But apparently, hang about. Now this, I'm looking at. Okay. See, again, this is social media. 1 second. Here we go. You see this now?
Nice speak of Arsenal again.
Barcelona linked with Aubameyang.
I think he's a bad egg in to it. He's a good player, but he's not for me. He's not my cup of tea at all.
Could be another fucking wind up, whatever. It is what it is.
And you know the shiny cars, the haircuts, the clothes, the
trill
do all that if you're winning, it's great. But yeah, it just does my head in.
Yeah, but come on, a lot of footballers have got the cars. I mean, they go to Yanimais around the corner
No,
from
I,
them.
I understand that, but he's he's at Arsenal Football Club. They've got a good tradition there. Yeah, not for me.
Look, let's go back to Spurs. Let's go, let's go back to Spurs. So we know that obviously they haven't spent as much money as they would have liked this winter. I know they brought in a central defender from Atalanta. Apparently they're looking at Adama Traore. I don't know how true that is. But again, I still believe that this whole Harry Kane situation has kind of fucked up their transfer activity, because on the one hand, they're probably planning to bring in his replacement, but they could only bring in his replacement until he fucked off. But obviously that's not happened now. He's done a U-turn and he said that I'm staying here this summer, but he hasn't really said anything else, has he? I'm staying here this summer. Well, what happens in January? Are you going to kick off again? I don't know.
We'll see. I think it's the best news Tottenham could have had in the space of 7 days. Son signed a new contract. Kane decides to stay at least till January, possibly longer. The top of the league. They've not conceded a goal, and the manager looks the right choice. I think them fans are all right still. I don't think there'll be any moaning.
I think sometimes when you get rid of players, look at Bale. You got rid of him and bought 7 players, and they're all rubbish. So you know what you're going to get with Harry Kane. That's 25, 30 goals. We're back to work. He's a good professional. Although that I think he was wrong not to come into training. But yeah, I thought Martial might have been on the moves there, but now Daniel James is gone. I don't see that happening.
Fuck's sake. One more thing on Harry Kane, gents. I don't think we spoke about this, but the contract, 6-year contract, no release clause. Now, I don't think he had the same agent as he does now when the deal was being negotiated. So who's fucked up here?
The player.
Harry Kane, he's the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't think Harry Kane should... What? You don't think Harry Kane suggested it?
Well, it's his fault if he hasn't.
It's, he employs these people, so...
You're not telling me...
He's obviously got rid of him because he's not good at his job.
He don't put his eyes over the contract before the guys who do the contract for him have done it all. You're not telling me Harry Kane doesn't foolproof it. Yeah,
so they'll go through it, and then they'll go through the major details that he needs to know. Well, what if someone comes into him? You'd go through that. That's on a normal conversation. Obviously, in his mind at the time, he had no idea of leaving Spurs. Pochettino was there, everything was going great. So that wasn't obviously in his thought process. So it might not be down to his agent. He might have said, no, I don't need that. I'm happy at Spurs. You never know.
Okay, fair enough. All right, gentlemen, anything else we'd like to discuss before we wrap things up? Tomorrow's the transfer deadline. So can you guys see any big moves happening, any shockers, anything that we need to really look out for?
Yeah, there'll be some. I think, there'll be something. I don't know who, I don't know where, but no clubs have actually done that one, have they, Stel? Yeah, that's it. We're done. We're just ready now for the international break and getting back to business. We're done. Nobody has actually done that, have they? I think there'll be something somewhere that'll be big. I don't know who.
Troy Deeney's gone to Birmingham. There's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, I don't know. Look, City need a striker. We've spoke about this before.
Could happen.
Yeah, but who though? This is the thing.
I don't think something like that. We're talking elite players now that City were bringing in. If they were bringing someone in, they want to be challenging for places. And the quality, you think Lewandowski, but he's not going to leave Bayern Munich. Haaland, that's so much of a big deal. I don't think they can do that, especially after they just spent 100 million quid. So I think they'll have to, bite the gumshoe and hold on for another year, or see how the land lays in January. They scored 15 goals in the last 3 games. They're still scoring goals, so it's not a massive problem like they're drawing 0-0 or they're winning 1-0 or they're creating chances. They just got to, that next level to win that Champions League final. They need a proper elite striker to replace Sergio Aguero.
I'm hoping it's Dalot out and Trippier in by 11 o'clock tomorrow night.
How confident are you?
I'm all right. I'm more hopeful than confident, but
I think it's a must, something like that, because if you look at the stats, the right side of United to the left side of United of the assists is a total mismatch. It's like 3 to 30.
Well, Fabrizio Romano reckons it's 100% that he's going to stay, Dalot.
Fine. Well, yeah.
That's Romano, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. But
no, but if the James one goes through,
it's gone through.
That's 30 million.
Yeah,
true.
But and then the words of Trippier coming in. Dalot, is he going to really stay there? Would he want to really stay there? If he's been told someone's coming in to replace or to fight for Wan-Bissaka?
I think Trippier comes by tomorrow.
Well, there's a rumor that Bernardo Silva might go, but I still think it's. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's late in the day. I mean, because we don't know.
I don't think City are going to lose a player like him. Why would they want to lose someone of that quality? He's a starter. He plays every week.
Yeah.
He's one of Pep's players that he likes to depend on, I think.
Bizarrely, Rod, just a reminder, they lost at Spurs last year and they got well beaten, really. And then when they went on that winning run after it, Pep Guardiola said, we realised once we looked at the Spurs game, we had to get Bernardo Silva back in our team, and that's what got us winning again. And then talk about not learning your lesson. They didn't pick Bernardo Silva for the first game at Spurs again. We're well beaten again, and they've put him in for the last 2 games, and they've been sensational.
So to get rid of someone like that would be yeah, it wouldn't make sense. So I don't see that happening. Where have you heard that from? Where would he go?
Well, he was supposed to be going to Spurs, offered to Spurs as part of the Kane deal that didn't happen.
Right. If then that was the case, then yeah.
And he was linked with Barcelona about 8 weeks ago, but nothing recent, nothing in the last 7 days.
No, he's one of the best players for me. Yeah, I like him. Yeah. He's a one matter with pace.
Yeah, good.
City usually get their transfer business done before the season starts anyway. They're really good like that, in all fairness. So
yeah, but he normally says the shop's closed when it's closed. But Guardiola normally said, no, we're done.
Yeah.
He normally lets you know when he doesn't lie on it. He hasn't done it.
Yeah.
I don't rule him out doing something tomorrow.
Yeah. That's
you never know. They might bring a centre forward in. You never know. Something pops up. You never know.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, there's so many strikers available. If you want to talk about Premier League, I wouldn't.
No, I know there's strikers still, but Man City are looking for elite strikers. They're shopping for elite strikers. They're not shopping for, yes, they might need a stopgap, but who would that be? Danny Ings has gone somewhere, so he's out the way. Who else would it be?
I could see it being someone like this, Richarlison. Honestly, I can.
Richarlison.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, just a tiny feeling.
And that's not going to be a small deal. You're looking at 70, 80 million. He's not going to be cheap.
But he plays on the left wing mostly for Everton. But all of a sudden, Everton have signed Damari Gray and Andros Townsend.
Yeah, I think Damari Gray's a great sign. He's been brilliant for them.
What's to say that they don't make an offer for Antonio? West Ham. What's to say they don't make an offer for him?
Well,
I don't think he's a City player.
Well, you can play right back.
Yeah,
you can play right back.
Yeah.
Mind you, he's 31, so I don't think that.
No, still. You can have that one for yourself, mate. I'm not having that.
Well, more chance to go to Cyprus.
Huh? Go to Cyprus.
He's got more chance to go to Cyprus.
Yeah, well, he can go. He'll do well there. He'll do well.
How did your team get on last night?
My team?
Yeah.
We didn't play. We haven't played.
I seen the team you put on yesterday, 2-0.
Oh, that's our rivals. Yeah, they played a friendly.
Was that why you were smiling? Oh,
yeah, they played. It was a friendly game against like a 6th division team and they lost 2-1. But and I put a video up and all of their fans were messaging me saying, "Oh, we played our under 17s." So I'm like, listen, I'm winding you up. You're the dickheads that are fucking biting. You know, they appointed today their 16th manager in 5 seasons.
Yeah, that's not good.
So yeah, he won't last. I mean, he will last longer than Mick McCarthy did, to be fair. But it is what it is. Fuck him, cunts. That's it, gentlemen. That's it for another episode. Thank you for your time, and thank you everyone for watching. Rod,
what we're going to do now is it like we don't do internationals, do we?
We can talk internationals. Do you want to do internationals, Steve?
Or we could do roundup of our fantasy teams, see where we're at. Have you counted the other one yet?
No, I haven't. You need to send me your teams. I actually, no, I've got the teams written down. I'm sure I've got the teams written down.
Because my auction team's flying, by the way.
I've got them somewhere. I'm going to need to get Theo to message me his because actually, I've got them here. I've got them here.
I definitely need a calculator count that one and all that.
Get this fucking guy. I've got them written down. I just need to. All right, okay. I've got them. Is that mine? That's not mine.
How will you do that then, or you just go off the points that they've got so far?
Just go off the points that they've got so far. Yeah, that'd be the best thing.
Definitely a calculator, man.
Fuck off. I don't know which one's my team here. 1 minute.
I've not looked. How did that 25 points end up?
Oh yeah, I'm above you. I'm 2 places above you, mate. It's all right. Don't worry about it. It's okay. What would you say? It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, there you go. Correct.
I've got Antonio in my team.
I know. I not put Gunder, and I'm like, oh my god.
Shit, I got Antonio and I got Jesus.
Well, I've got Mane, Bruno Fernandes, Vardy, Son, Sterling.
Too easy, boy.
They're all bagging.
Whatever. Right, Rod, Twitter handle. At Rod James Giggs. There you go.
At Rod James Giggs, yeah.
Steve, thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Till next time, lads.
Thank you, gentlemen. Right, that's it, guys. We're on Twitter at Shoot the Fence. If you got any questions,